Hello there. Yeah, just a couple of extra thoughts re the Grand National and the things that happened at the weekend. As some of you that may have seen past videos may know, I've been away at the weekend on a stag weekend to Budapest. I'd say sunny Budapest, but it certainly wasn't sunny, especially on the Friday. God, it was horrendous. I missed the bulk of the Grand National. I've seen a very little bit of it. It ran late, which didn't help because of the protesters, so I just got to see bits of it. I actually seen the winning horse cross the line, and then that was it. Didn't see any of the interviews thereafter, and all it is, just a couple of quick mentions. I seen a couple of interviews today. I watched it back today from the Racing Channel. I seen the interview with Peter Scudamore, the partner, husband of the winning trainer. Thought it was absolutely fantastic. A brilliant interview. If anyone hasn't seen it, please watch it. For all those that say there isn't enough love for horses and they're not cared for in the correct way, watch that and you may just change your opinion. You may not, but you may do. I also seen a replay of some of Friday's action at Aintree, and I seen a short interview with Davy Russell, the genius Irish jockey that's retired for the third time over the weekend, and I think he probably has retired for good now. I seen an interview with him after he partnered Jerry Colomb to win a Grade 1 early on in the day on Friday. I was away Friday, so didn't see it at all, so I watched it today. And I thought it was a fantastic interview with him. I mean, he's extremely, what is the word? Modest. He's always been that way. He will not bum himself up. But the things he said I thought were great. And the thing that I most liked was he said that after doing so poorly at Cheltenham and Cheltenham ending so badly for him, his trainer, Gordon Elliott, insisted that he came back to Aintree and had one last hurrah. He didn't want his career to end as it did at Aintree. Now, I'd already read that in the paper that Elliott wanted him back and that Elliott told him he'd like him to come back. But Davy sort of almost intimated that, not so much he forced him back, but that he'd have been disappointed had he not took up some rides last week at Aintree. Disappointed because he really thought that much of the jockey of Davy Russell, that he really wanted to give him a glorious send-off. Now, Gordon Elliott is a guy that came in for some massive brickbats a couple of years ago with the incident with, well, I won't go into full of the incident. We all know what we saw, and it was awful. He got a 6-month ban and he apologised profusely, and I do believe he meant it. He says he loves the racehorse or the racehorses. I believe he does. It was something unfortunate. It was something stupid. He served his time. It's now gone. He's a great trainer. A mate of mine has met him. I haven't myself. Says he's a real nice guy, and I don't doubt he is. Everybody says great things about him. I like Gordon Elliott. There's me. Colours to the mast. I like Gordon Elliott. I liked him that little bit more after listening to Davy Russell's interview that came out on Friday after he won a Jerry Colomb, which, as I say, I've only just seen today. I love people that stick together. I love loyalty. Me as a person have suffered from friends not sticking together on loyalty over the last couple of years, and I love it when I see people that are loyal to one another. That was great. And finally, very last thought, I should know the guy's name, and I don't, so please, apologies before I mentioned the third interview I saw, which I think was on the same day. I think it was also on, it was also on the Friday. It was after Jerry Colomb had won and after they interviewed Davy Russell. They interviewed Jerry Colomb's owner. I know it's Robco Racing. I don't know the guy's name. Having said that, I'll take a stab at it. It might be Brian Aitchison, and I might be spot on there, but I might be miles way of the mark. I'm not sure. It may have been Brian Aitchison, but because I don't really know the name and I'm not familiar with it, I'm not sure. And because I heard the name about 2 or 3 hours ago, that is a long time for me to retain anything in the old grey matter here. It may have been Brian Aitchison, I don't know. But he was really nice. He was really full of praise for Davy Russell and for the trainer. But what I loved about what he said was that he said, even if Jerry Colomb goes to the Gold Cup next year, and it is a Gold Cup horse, he says, I'm not so sure I would cope against the Galopin de Champs, which is a fantastic horse of Willie Mullins, which it is. It won the Gold Cup this year, and it looks another world beater off the Mullins conveyor belt. But what I particularly loved about what he said was, he said, You know, he said if I think it's a great Gold Cup winner galloping. It won very well this year. I was really, really pleased it won very well this year. And if I couldn't win the race, that was the horse I wanted to win. In the main, because of how unlucky it was last year at Cheltenham when it came down at the last fence and didn't deserve to. Now I thought that says it all about the guy from Robco, you know, to think so much of a horse and want it to do so well when it isn't his own. He's great. And that is something you get in horse racing, especially national hunt horse racing. They all stick together, as they have over the sad few months since the tragedy that befell Henry Brammed and his family. They're a great bunch of people, and it's a great sport. And as I said, you know my views yesterday on the national and the protesters and whether I feel it should carry on or not. Them kind of bits and pieces that I've seen over the last day or so on the TV, you know, just add more. I don't know, is it fuel to the fire? No, that's the opposite. But fuel to the fire for it carrying on though, not for it ending. It's a great sport, and it'd be a sadness if it was no longer. Okay, that's it from me. That's my thoughts on the national weekend.